it's assessment time, and maybe we only stay in assessment time for 5 seconds and forget that. But at least it sort of flashes through everyone's mind, it seems like.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Epic Everyday, our weekday podcast for busy, overwhelmed Christians who don't want to live in the insanity and instead want to live in freedom and abundance and peace. I'm Liz Frerichs, and this is my husband, Evan.
Hello.
And we're so glad you guys are here with us.
On this
Monday.
First day.
Opportunity Day.
Of 2018.
Sure. First day of 2018.
It's pretty exciting.
It is. It's kind of crazy. I love New Year's because I love not being in the previous year.
You always want to say goodbye to the last year.
Usually, yeah.
By the time it gets to be about day 360, you're ready to walk away.
Yeah. Well, I love the sense of, I don't know. I mean, at the beginning of the year, you have no idea where you're going to be by the end of the year, which is a fun,
it's exciting.
It's adventure.
Yeah. I like that too.
So I like that feeling of what are we going to do this year? How's it going to pan out? Who knows?
Yeah, but that could also cause anxiety too, right? The unknown. Mm-hmm. And then I think sometimes I think more about the last year and maybe some of the stuff I didn't do or missed or, I never really make resolutions. I never have traditionally, but then I'm always like, should I have? And well, I didn't get them done anyway. Kind of a grading time, to grade yourself. But
that's how we balance each other out. I'm like, come on, what are your resolutions for the year? Make a plan, make a goal. Let's do this.
Right, because we don't want to get to the end of the year and be like, where did the time go? And did I achieve anything? Yeah.
Well, and it's was it Mark Twain or whoever it was that said that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail? If you don't have a plan for 2018, you're not going to succeed.
That's pretty ominous. Well,
it's the truth, though.
Yeah. And last year, do you always make resolutions?
Yes.
Well, last year was the first year for me that I actually wrote down some goals, and we did it all together as a family. And I feel like that. I don't know if I accomplished any of them, but I feel like that framed the year a little bit. I mean, I thought about them a lot throughout the year, and I worked on them. And some of them were not necessarily, I couldn't control all of everything about at least one of them. And so, but I worked on it, and it didn't really happen. But I was more intentional about it than I would have been if I hadn't even thought to have that be a goal.
Yeah, I feel like writing things down for me helps me a lot to just be a little more intentional. Even if I don't accomplish it, I still, it's still in the forefront of my mind. One of the things that the goals that I did accomplish were the ones that I wrote on a Post-it note and read every day.
Oh.
Well, I had 5 goals.
Oh, okay.
And they were health goals. Being able to sleep through the night was one of them, which has never happened in my entire life. But this year started happening consistently. So, and to fix my nutritional stuff, and we did that. Took hair test analysis and checked my nutrition.
Checked them all.
Whatever.
Didn't miss a single one.
Yes. And then to finish the first book in my fantasy novel, which I did. I wanted to finish all 4 of them, but I did finish the first one. So
that's pretty good.
Some progress.
Yeah.
And help our daughter with her dyslexia, which did that. I think the last one was helping the kids with their nutritional issues. And we haven't measured it, so I can't say that it's better, but I feel like it's better.
When one of ours together was to start the podcast, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was another one on there to start the podcast.
That's one of mine that I got done. Yeah, and then that other one that didn't totally depend on me was I wanted to add another guy to my guy network, the accountability network, and that didn't really happen. But I've put some feelers out there, and I tried a few times. So I think that's important. I don't know. I think when I think about losing calm about all this stuff, it's just a whole year of time is so much to think about. I get overwhelmed real quick. Or it just, I mean, even, I don't know. Yeah. The system, the process of, like, I've watched you get organized this year, like with some of the Sacred Six stuff. And I've sort of dipped my toe in the water a little bit there. And that's going to be one of my goals for this coming up year, I think. But it just,
you have to do it with our class when we do it.
Yeah. And I just see things like paperwork and writing things down. And I'm like, oh, that's more work than just doing stuff. But then you don't do the really important stuff without doing that kind of that framework type stuff. You build that scaffolding with the system that you're putting in place.
Well, and it actually lowers your stress.
Wow.
I know you don't believe
Someone like
me,
you, maybe. Yeah.
But really, having just 6 things that you're focusing on instead of trying to focus on everything at the same time, and being able to say, this is what I'm getting done in the next 90 days, that makes a big difference.
Yeah. And so that's right. When we get this class together, I'm going to be right there along with anybody who's taking it with us. But I'm looking forward to that. And I think there's even, I don't know, I can see God's hand in just some of the other things that have happened this year to move me towards wanting to get more into it. I mean,
being willing to write down your goals.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we had a class at church that was about emotionally healthy spirituality, some of the Peter Cesaro stuff, and he talked about a daily office, and and something about that clicked in my brain, and I've been trying to do that, where I take intentional breaks from work and I go meditate and pray, and I don't hit it every day, but it's like, oh, I can lock different things on my schedule. Like, even though I'm working, I can work in and around that framework to get some of my more, personal development and spiritual goals done. I don't have to just like shut down any kind of personal stuff from in between the hours of when I'm working. I think that was my biggest block. It's like, well, how do I do this with my job? Like, don't I have to join a monastery or something to really get some of these things done, some of this spiritual development stuff?
Which is so funny to me, because you actually believe in taking breaks. Yeah,
but I usually take breaks and play games on my phone. Like, I don't, because, but taking a break to do something intentional like that, I have been filled back up with calm and the CSCs and like all this amazing stuff that a break is actually supposed to do.
Right.
Whereas a total mental checkout break, I mean, those are important too, but that was like the only kind of break I was doing. So I'm kind of reformulating what a break is and what it's for, and it's been really cool. So anyway, looking forward to honing that some more this next year.
I'm honestly just looking forward to where God's going to take us, because every year is like this adventure that we really have no idea. Even though I wrote down sleeping through the night as one of my goals, I also was like, I don't even know if this is possible. So,
like a little baby, you're up to sleeping in your own bed now.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would hope that sleeping through the night will mean that this next year, some of my chronic fatigue stuff gets better.
It seems like it's got to. I mean, it was years ago that your doctor was like, you've got to start sleeping or you're not going to get better. So now you're sleeping. So you got to get better.
I hope so. So I'm interested to see that. I'm really excited about our class, and I'm excited about working on my books.
Yeah, I'm excited about continuing to do the podcast. I mean, this has been so fun to do with you. And the first weekend of the year, we're going to be at episode 100. That's going to be it'll be fun for us anyway. And then it'll just be 101 and we'll be cranking on from there. So
I think, when I was thinking about calm and the new year, I think one of the biggest things for me is just trying to keep applying the CSDs this year. Because, Tony Robbins says that stressed is the overachiever word for fear. And I have been listening to myself lately since we've been sick, and I do say that I'm stressed a lot. Like, to me, that's the opposite of calm, is that being an overwhelm, being like, oh my gosh, how do we handle all this stuff? So I love having the CSCs to fall back on and kind of take a step back and be like, wait a minute, I just said the word stressed. That means
Right,
I'm not calm.
That triggers something.
Right. I'm excited to just have the podcast to remind me every day. Oh yeah, calm is still important. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, still need to work on being surrendered. I think it's so important to take the new year to set up those railroad tracks, to set up, whatever your calm method is.
Yeah.
So for me, I like to, like you were saying, how you're, getting into your daily office, and I will probably try to revamp some of the things that I'm doing too, just to be like, okay, what do I need to change? What's working? What's not working? Because sometimes I get stuck in a rut, I know
I
you're
guess.
shocked me stuck in a rut.
I actually am, because I feel like I want to build myself a rut and just charge ahead. But I'm also excited to tweak my process, and I don't generally like to tweak. I feel like, it's good, it's working, it's good enough. Why fix what ain't broken? But it might actually be kind of broken,
right.
Or at least not running at full capacity or something. So.
And mine is, how do we make this perfect?
Right. Well, you're always tweaking.
Yes. But I especially like having the beginning of the year to say, okay, what's working? What's not working? How do we get rid of some of this? And even just adding, getting kind of back on the bandwagon. Because I feel like sometimes, like for instance, we've talked about how this last month our house is just a disaster because we've let that slide. So the beginning of the year here, maybe we can get back on the wagon with our, cleaning routines.
And we know we can.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But it's just a matter of saying, okay, we need to get back into some of these things.
Yeah, it takes being intentional. And I mean, the beginning of the year is just so great for that. I mean, think in everybody's mind, it's like, okay, it's assessment time. And maybe we only stay in assessment time for 5 seconds and forget that. But at least it sort of flashes through everyone's mind, it seems like. And it's right. A good time to be like, so let's really do it, because we want to see what's working and what's not, like you said.
Yeah, and if assessment is stressful, take a deep breath and make it smaller chunks, Like one of the things that I've done just this past, just the last month or something, was taking this class about breaking down your goals into 2-week chunks. Yeah. And then having those the ones that are written on my Post-it note that I read every day, because it provides momentum. You are so laser focused that you don't get sidetracked, and you can tell right away, is this goal actually realistic? I think
sometimes get it done in 2 weeks, then break it down even more.
Right. I think sometimes it's easy to go, oh, can I get this done this year? Yeah, I can probably finish that this year. But you kind of overestimate what you can get done in a year. Whereas if you're like, can I do this in 2 weeks? It's a pretty clear, either no way, Jose, or sure, I can get that done if I, don't sleep and eat. Or oh, yeah, that's totally doable, Yeah,
and so now I'll actually do it,
Right, exactly. So I think breaking it up into smaller chunks is a good thing. I think committing to calm and then setting up that railroad track, that's a big part of it, because every time we have to decide if we're going to be calm or not. I was just reminding myself of that I have a choice whether I'm going to get upset and be frustrated at people or whatever. I have a choice, and I don't want to I don't want to be the kind of person that's constantly stressed.
Yeah, I like that. Choosing calm is my default. So if I start to get away from that, it's like, wait, where's my default setting here got changed? How do we get back?
Right. And recognizing that I don't, for me, it was such a revelation to kind of unhook calm from my circumstances and say, what kind of person do I want to be? Not what are my circumstances saying that I should be, or, I'm getting mad at somebody else. It's easy to be like, well, look at what they did, da 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 da.
Sure.
When really, I can come back to what kind of person do I want to be? Do I want to be somebody that gets mad easily? Well, no,
Sure.
that sounds like a lot of stress that I don't need in my life, you know?
Yeah.
So, regrounding it in what kind of person do you want to be rather than what are your circumstances like? What are,
'cause
you know,
that's,
what are the other people around you like? Whatever else we
so you've
could.
got no say over all that other stuff.
Right. All right. Well, hopefully we can all commit right now to having a calm 2018 because, you know, even if 2017 was super stressful for you, new year, got a new opportunity to bring calm in. And the more calm you have, the less stress there is. Like not just a, hey, I'm not stressed because I'm choosing to be calm, but a, like, hey, I'm calm and so I am able to problem solve. Everything in my life happens more quickly and more easily, and so then I'm even calmer. You know, you can turn it into an upward spiral rather than a downward spiral.
Yeah. And it's baby steps and one day at a time the whole year. We don't get to press the fast forward button.
Exactly. All right, we love you guys and we are praying for you. Thanks to everybody that's been sharing the show. We really appreciate it. If you have found this podcast helpful, please do continue to share it. And come back tomorrow and we will keep talking about setting up your year.
Yeah, look forward to it. See you then.
Bye.